Ah, shit. This episode of the BRG podcast has been brought to you by our patrons. Here at BRG, we'd like to thank those patrons who have subscribed and donated. It is because of generosity like yours that makes this show possible.
On this special episode of the podcast, we look back on the year of 2017, talk about some of the top news topics that came out over the year, as well as sprinkle in a little bit of our top 3 for different subjects such as games, hardware, and rants. Hey guys, welcome back to an episode of the BRG podcast. I am your host, WarpedJester, and of course, as always, my beautiful, my wonderful, my moose riding compatriot.
Me, Kirrok. Hi guys. Hey buddy.
How's it going, buddy? How's life been for you?
Very good, thank you.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, so as you guys know, as we give you a fair heads up, we're doing some special episodes all through the end of the month here. I told you going to be non-news episodes, and this one is a non-news episode, sort of. What we're going to be doing is a year-in review. So we're actually going to go back and look back through a couple of few of the top interesting news things that came out this year, and kind of go into detail and really talk about them a bit more in depth, if you will. Just kind of recap and rehash what's happened throughout time, and wax poetic about it or something like that. Of course, here to help us tonight, we have got the wonderful and beautiful people from the Team Chat podcast. Well, 2/3 of them at least.
That's us. What's up?
It's me. I will say in open honesty, guys, we really wanted to have a big crowd of people tonight. Unfortunately, they kept getting picked off one after the other. And I'll be honest with you, after we lost, like, the 4th one, I was starting to worry and, like, keeping a mirror on me just to see if there's, like, a little laser dot on my head or something, because we're getting picked off here, man, and I tell you, something's not right. Anyways, we do want to get this tonight, and just so you guys know, I believe these are the best topics to have, but of course, at the end of this, I'm sure you guys will let me know if I'm wrong. But the 4 topics that we're going to be talking about is going to be the Nintendo Switch, the YouTube debacle and all the myriad facets of it, net neutrality, and what was the last one?
Monetization and loot box.
That's right. Yeah. Loot box, monetization, and gamification. We did have a main talk about that just recently, but we're going to, again, go into a little more depth and get also the wonderful people's, other than ourselves, opinions on this, because it's a big topic, it's a big interest, so I'll be happy to dive a little deeper. Let's get into it.
Nice.
Oh.
Okay, guys.
Welcome back. It's Kirrok, and hey, we are not doing a game releases. We are doing the top 3 picks for 2017. That's right. There's a few there's really good ones in there, but geez, man, I had a tough time trying to decide, but when it came down to it, it just made sense. We have 3 tiers: bronze level, silver level, and gold, as gold being the top dog for 2017. Here they are. Okay, guys, so for your 3rd place game or your bronze level game, it is, for 2017, CUPHEAD. That's right, this game has that 1940s, 1930s, 1940s art style, which reminds me so much of the original Walt Disney cartoons. You know, the kind where you see Mickey Mouse standing there and he's kind of jiggling? Same freaking thing in this. And it is beautiful. It is visually pleasing. This game is impressive on a visual scale as well as an auditory scale. The score, the music that goes along with it fits within that era and just complements the graphics amazingly. Now, the game does have some elements of side-scrolling and some jumping puzzles, but you basically have a whole bunch of characters out to get you. The game was specifically designed to fucking kill your ass, okay? So this game looks innocent on the outside, but it can be incredibly difficult. There are relentless levels of enemies and bullets just flying at you and things like that. In fact, I've actually seen a few people playing this game, and I've seen it go from a joyous, little, beautiful occasion to very quickly turning into a frustrating, I'm going to break the game disc in a second kind of occasion. Personally, it's not the kind of game for me. I do love the look. I do love the sounds and the audio and the music. But at the same time, I'm the kind of guy who doesn't like super frustrating games. I like to have progression and get through. Although, there are people that I know who have actually played this game, and they tell me that once you do that level, or you try and beat that boss for that, and I hate to say this, the 20th or the 30th time, and you finally find that little formula, the right type of ammunition, or the right type of jump move or something like that, that when you kill that enemy or when you kill that boss, the reward factor is super, super high. So it's a game for guys and girls who like a challenge. It's a game for people who love to put themselves through a little bit of hell to get a great payoff in the end. So this is my number 3 pick for the year. It's a game I haven't played. To be fair, I haven't played this game, and so at this point, I'm going to get into the second, which is silver, and the first, which is gold, and those are games that I both played, and they are awesome. And your second place, or silver, for the top 3 of 2017 is Horizon Zero Dawn. I picked this one because it is a great game, and I played it personally right from the start to finish. And if you don't know, the game basically takes place in the future, very, very, very distant future, and humans have experienced an apocalyptic event that has basically reduced us down to tribal state, very, very primitive type state. People running around with war paint on their face, hides on their body, using spears and slingshots to kill animals. But one of the other cool things is, as you progress through the storyline, which is basically your main quest line, and you do have available side quests that fill in the story for you, you do learn what has happened to Earth, and that is what kept me going in this game. I couldn't put it down only because of the fact that I wanted to know what had happened to Earth. I'm not going to spoil it and tell you guys what happened. You're going to have to play it yourself. But the game can be played on various different difficulty settings. So it can be pretty hard if you put it on hard, which is what I was playing it on. Unintentionally, it was totally a mistake. But they also introduced a story mode, which really focuses on the story, makes the gameplay and the killing of animals and trying to beat bosses much, much easier, almost to the point where I would say it's too easy. But the game is absolutely beautiful, breathtaking, and stunning. The picture is gorgeous, especially if you're playing it in 4K. The other thing, too, is that there are sneak tactics in the game, so you can actually go like a hunter, crouch down in tall grass and take down your enemies. And as you progress through the storyline, you'll be exposed to new types of mechanical animals. Don't get me wrong, there are biological animals, and you got to hunt those down too to replenish certain crafting materials to make certain things that you need. But as you get exposed to these new machines, you get exposed to more powerful, a lot harder machines to kill. This game was an absolute joy to play, and I think back and I remember it and I go, man, it's such a good game. I don't know if I'd play it again, but it scores as my number 2 spot, silver, for top 3 of 2017. All right, guys, the moment you've all been waiting for, the top spot, gold position, 2017 top 3. It is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's right. This game came out this year, and it came out with a new console, the Nintendo Switch. And don't let that small console and don't let that small game cartridge fool you. The game is fantastic and worth every penny. The game is a true to the sense of the word of an open world type game where you get to explore, and you get actually like 4-tier puzzles. I'm not going to say exactly what that you got to accomplish before you go to the very end. I'm not fully there. I haven't finished it, but I've already clocked in about 105 hours on this game. But the game allows you to play it in any order you want. You don't have a set fixed methodology. You could go do whatever you want in the world. There's all kinds of different mechanics. There are like cooking systems. There isn't really so much of a crafting. Your cooking could be considered the crafting, which gives you not potions, but different foods that give you abilities such as resistance to cold, resistance to heat, and so on. It is a really great game. I picked it because visually it is stunning. You get lost in the world of Hyrule, the kingdom of Hyrule, and there are also shrines scattered throughout the whole kingdom that are little puzzles that you have to solve in each shrine. And as you solve those puzzles and you get, I think it's 3 shrines in a row, you then can, you get orbs, and you can trade those orbs in at a prayer statue for more heart containers or more stamina, which is throughout the game you build it up. And then you can also go around and find different armor, different weapons. Weapons do break over time, so you constantly are finding yourself replenishing, but the game has so much to offer that you'll always be getting them. It's not a big deal. There are enemies in the games that range from like really easy to kill, which are hard at the very beginning, but once you figure them out and once you get the right weapons, you can beat them easily, and then it brings you up to higher and higher tiers of enemies, and some of the shrines actually have these. The game is super fantastic, well worth every penny of it. This is my top pick for 2017. Rush out there and buy it. Just go get it. Just if you have to freaking trade in some other system, do it. Trust me, you won't be sorry. And that's it, guys. I hope you liked my top 3 picks for 2017. They were amazing games this year. Let's just hope that there are more like them in the coming year. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye for now.
Okay, boys and girls, let's go ahead and dive into this. Now, again, it started us off with tonight for the main topic. We'll be talking about Nintendo Switch, and the reason for it is it was a system that had a lot of question marks around it, not just for the system itself, but for the company itself. Like, Nintendo had a sell status on their stock kind of a position. People were writing Nintendo off. It was done. Yeah. They had their heyday back in the days of the Wii. The Wii U failed. It was downhill from there. There were a lot of skeptical personalities about it. Now, fast forward to the end of the year, you can tell that a lot of people were wrong. And there's a lot of people scrambling to get back on this boat very quickly. We'll talk about that. But to start us off with, the first kind of rumors of the new year that started coming in were all around what it could be, what it might have, and so on.
NX.
Yeah, the NX. But official word came up in January when Nintendo actually finally opened their mouths and released details. And the important details were March 3rd of this year and $299 US. And that's the date it was going to be coming out and the price point for it. Also worth noting is some of the specs they had, which is going to be 32 gigs of memory. It's going to have a dock comes with it. Even comes with an HDMI cable, which to me things don't come with HDMI cables. I'm just saying. It's a total side note, but
it's always nice when they do. It's a nice little fun surprise.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. I saved myself $15, $20 on this cable.
I'm not sure I've ever bought anything that didn't have an HDMI cable.
Well, you're a lucky
What
one.
are you people buying?
Knockoffs.
Now, it was not all roses, because the first thing that came up that we find out would be a little more hectic later down the road was Nintendo's idea of how to do matchmaking and conversation. I'm going to defer to you guys here because I'm the one person here who is not a Switch owner. So I'm going to start with Mogan. You have a smartphone?
It's still a non-thing. Yeah. No, so that's the thing. I have a smartphone. I don't have a Nintendo online account still because I think it's 100% unnecessary. Especially, there's just no need for it. Even for the games that actually are entirely online, such as Splatoon 2 and all 0 other of them. I don't actually know of any others.
Mario Kart's got online.
Yeah. Oh, that's who's on voice on Mario Kart?
No.
Nobody.
Come you have to be on voice so you can shit talk people. That's like mandatory.
Which is exactly why Nintendo's apps for this kinds of thing are basically non-existent. They don't want that kind of environment. They don't want to foster the kind of shit-talking environment that we are all so very used to. And to that end, they either don't have a system at all for it, or they have one that's really restrictive and very specifically guarded to Nintendo. Okay. Which is why so many people, I think, aren't going to use it. And that's why I'm still using Discord.
Well, yeah, I get with it. Okay, so if the use your cell phone to talk to people concept for Nintendo is a non-starter, non-issue. What about these wonderful little hardware issues they had on launch day? Specifically, they had some complications with their controllers.
The Joy-Cons disconnecting.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
Kirok?
May I actually I experienced this. At first I was like, oh, whatever. I bought the Pro controller, which is like here, it's another $89 or $79. And so I figured if I'm playing on the television screen docked, I could just use that. It wouldn't affect me. But then I found myself in a setting where I had Overcooked, the game Overcooked.
Oh, Jared
And
loves Overcooked.
I pulled the controllers off. I pulled the other controllers so I could have at least 3 people playing at once. And one of them kept disconnecting. So in the end, I ended up switching those controllers out for the neon ones that I showed you guys. I have it here.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah,
Look at them.
they're awesome. But these are newer, revised ones, so they don't have that issue.
They have the
You're
little,
right.
they have the little metallized foam in them. That's
Yeah.
all it was. It was like a little...
That's interesting. I also have a similar situation. I don't know if you can see. I only have one of my beautiful red and originally blue Joy-Cons because
Gotcha.
I also fell prey to the dreaded left Joy-Con.
You can
Mine wouldn't
return it.
even. Mine never actually reconnected. It just died. Like
Oh, really?
a week.
Wow.
Yeah, like a week into the game, and I was like, I have to play Breath of the Wild now. So of course, I went out that day to buy a new one, and I still haven't actually bothered to send mine back in, and I should. But yeah, it was definitely a problem. A real bummer.
No,
I thought I almost. Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, but there's another issue that came up early on with Nintendo, even before the actual release of it, which was the abysmal list of games at launch. More so over, Jarrett, if you'll remember, there was a lot of conversation about a whole bunch of different studios going, I don't know if we're going to be doing anything for the Switch, to be honest.
Right, because I feel like even at the beginning, Bethesda was kind of like that. That's when we got the first hints that Bethesda was going to be a key player with Switch, which now we've obviously seen they have with ports of Doom, Wolfenstein 2 coming later.
Yes.
Skyrim just now came out on it as well. So Bethesda's a bought-in player, but at the time they were kind of the only ones. They weren't even totally confirmed either that they were going to be all on board the Switch train. And so I remember when I watched the Nintendo Direct that was that announced all of the stuff about it, that was my thing about it. I was like, this looks fun. It looks more fun than I thought it was going to be, but also Zelda is really the only thing I'm interested in, and it's out at launch. There won't be anything else until really Mario, which was in October.
And you
So-
were wrong because Splatoon 2 came out in
it
that
was, and I
time.
wound up getting. I didn't wind up actually getting my Switch until my birthday, and then Splatoon 2 came out like 2 weeks later, and I got that also as like a belated gift for my birthday. And I was like, and then I played it, and I was like, oh, this game's awesome. But just from games that I had already had experience with and new to play. Oh, and Mario Kart Deluxe was, I guess, going to be out also. But I was like, that's it. It's just those two. We got Zelda and Mario Kart. That's all I'm interested in. ARMS looked cool, but I wasn't totally sold on it. 1-2 Switch looked like it could be fun, but only in really like a party setting. If you're playing it by yourself or with the same person over and over, it could get pretty boring, I felt like. And so, yeah, so the library of games is a big deterrent to me for not wanting to pick it up day one.
Yeah, and that's so here's the thing, and this is where things get kind of odd, because you had the whole speculation against Nintendo as a whole going downhill after the Wii U debacle. You have the announcement for the device with the smallest listing of games at launch ever, plus a bunch of studios saying, the courteous little, it's a cute idea, we'll get around to when we have time kind of thing. And then it comes out, and you've got issues with the controllers right off the hop. Nintendo did at first kind of deny, and then kind of went, well, there's not really a problem, but if you want to send it back to us, we'll give you another one. And they put that little metallized foam in there and made it a little better.
Basically, it would shield it.
Yeah, and so you had all that, and it's like, okay, this is not turning out very well. And then all of a sudden, you come down to just weeks after, not even weeks, days after the launch of the Nintendo Switch. And oh my God, it has one of the most intense launches ever.
Yeah.
I waited in line at midnight.
Me
on
too.
the only cold, midnight
I
buddies.
did it too.
On
I
the
was like,
only cold day of the year in Texas. I was like, it would be.
I was out watching Logan at the theater in a warm theater, so that's why I didn't join
gross.
I was out in the cold in a borrowed trench coat, like basically, like literally like a borrowed wool trench coat with a long ass scarf on, and everybody was like, "Who's this hobo waiting in line for a Switch?" And I was like, "Get out of my way! You don't belong
But
here."
it at launch. I mean, it wasn't like okay, we're at the end of the year now. We can see that yes, it's done fine, it's doing great. It was like literally days into it, people were like, "Oh my god, where'd all the stock go?" People started having problems finding the damn thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And that ties into the whole aspect of Nintendo saying, "Yeah, we're having some shortages. We apologize. We'll do what we can as soon as we can.
We'll make more."
Much like you want, we'll make more.
Which you would have thought they would have learned their lesson from the NES Classic. You know, because it came out and like nobody could find one. I barely got one.
But the NES Classic had a history to it.
Well,
the Switch
I know,
was
but
a
like the
totally
Switch was
new
supposed to be
IP.
like a
The
new
Switch was
console. Like
unknown.
you would think you would have enough on hand.
I think their concern genuinely was that it might not take off the way it did.
Yeah,
that's true.
I also think that there could also be implications of forced or manufactured scarcity,
Right,
which
'cause
would
that's been
drive
kind
up
of
prices.
Nintendo's MO
And that's the
before.
thing that I really kind of can't forgive. The limited availability and what I perceive as manufactured scarcity. Those kinds of business practices genuinely piss me off. The hardware stuff, I can get over that. They fixed it.
Yeah,
But
Nintendo
those
is
kinds
known
of-
for that, though. I mean, you're buying
Yeah.
into a company that is like markedly known for doing that. Jared hit it on the head when he said that because they have been known to do that. Now that said, I will honestly lean on Mogan's side on this because, to be quite frank and honest, I think that they were really, really touchy about rolling out too many of these because they were already hurting for certain after the loss on the Wii U. They really just didn't have the coffers to really go balls in on a new system that really trenched a lot of new grounds.
Oh yeah.
So, you
For
know,
sure.
you want to be at least a little careful with it. And things have definitely picked up. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't, and sorry, not to harp on this more, Mogan, I apologize, but the squid adapter debacle.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I
feel like I totally missed this. I'm not totally sure what this is.
It's basically just this, like they were trying to make a way that you could connect. It was all about VC, right? Voice connectivity.
Yep.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Voice chat from your phone, but game audio from the game.
It
game
was a
unit.
mess.
That sounds like a mess.
Yeah.
No, it looked like a squid.
Oh, it was actually kind of like this thing. Yeah, it was kind of like this, but one was for
okay.
your actual like headphones and your microphone, and the other one was for the game.
I see.
And it's just like, why? You could have just you could have built that into the system.
Exactly.
You could have done it differently,
Yeah.
and that was a
They're
mess up
just setting
too.
themselves out for Switch 2.0. That's all.
That's
Yeah,
probably
you
true.
mean Nintendo Switch Pro.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Gotta
yeah.
get that mid console generation going.
Maybe they'll
So-
finally call it the NX again.
So we started out with a lot of skepticism about the company. We started out with shortages, with issues with hardware, with scarce amount of games, with other companies saying, "Yeah, we'll see." Again, we'll play. And now we end up at the end of the year here, and oh my god, the thing is selling like hotcakes. There's not only a lot more games already out for it, but just about every single one of those studios, AAA down, that was like, yeah, well, it's a cute idea, or like, yes, hell yes, and yes, and then some. And you're seeing a lot of shit poured into it that, quite frankly, I honestly did not expect. Kirok had one that he was talking about a little earlier before we recorded that he's all over.
Yeah, it's I actually picked up I picked up Skyrim for the Switch. Bethesda Studios makes the game. The game's 6 years old now. Came out in 2011 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it is an older game. It's aged, but at the same time, the console isn't
Like
a
a
super
fine
powerful one.
wine.
Yeah, it's not a super powerful console if you compare it directly to a PS4 or an Xbox One or an Xbox One X. But for what it is, I actually haven't really played a whole lot of it. I got maybe 40 minutes into it, so I just got out of Helgen, and now I'm released out onto Skyrim.
Mhm.
And it's great because I was playing it and I was going, yeah, it's not perfect graphically, but it does what it needs to do, and it delivers the game, and and it's fun. And a lot of it is me and my nostalgia. Your memory goes back to what you did before. But think about it. Just as Jarrett was saying earlier, Bethesda's been one that's been backing the console quite a bit. They released Doom on it as well, which I heard it didn't get as good rating. But now with the other one coming out as well is going to be Wolfenstein 2: New Colossus.
Yeah.
So it's a great little machine. You're carrying a game on a screen about yay big, 720p, man. Like, it's great.
I mean, the games look good. When you put it into handheld mode, they
Yeah.
look just as good as they do on your
yeah.
big screen.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
a hard feat to do.
And it does allow that, like the only reason that I mean, other than the fact that I love the game, but the main reason why I want to get Doom for it is so that I can take Doom on the go.
On the go, anywhere you go,
It's
yeah.
so good.
So
Yeah,
up
well,
until now,
What was the comment you made in the game releases this last week, Kirok?
I can't remember now.
So the effect of shit
It was-
your
it
pants
was-
on the go.
Oh, shit your pants on the go. Oh, but that was shit your pants on the go. No, that was for the PSVR for Doom on there.
Oh yeah, Doom
Oh.
Nope,
VR.
But not on the go.
Maybe I must switch. Okay, yeah, whatever.
Oh, maybe
Fine.
I did. I can't remember.
You can't exactly do PSVR on the go.
On the go, exactly.
I'm
True.
sure someone out there's gonna prove me wrong and make some
But-
backpack for it, but
But one thing I
That'd be
wanted
awesome.
to add. One little thing I wanted to add. Up until now, you could go out and play a portable game, but it was the PS Vita. That was your best looking, but comparatively, it's a small screen, and this is a bigger screen at 720p, so it's actually a lot better. Like,
I want a cell
it's
phone
great.
that big. That'd be happy. So, in the end, and I want to wrap this up and move on here, but just to get your guys' opinion on this, no matter how you market it, you can label it anything you want, but in the end, is this a system that is square in competition with Sony's PlayStation and Microsoft Xbox, or is this in a realm more in like the Vita and the Game Boy realm with extra privileges?
The Game Boy realm. Can you even hear yourself talk?
Game
No,
Boy
I
was awesome.
Yeah, no, it was awesome, but I absolutely think that even though it does have portability in the handheld aspect, I absolutely consider the Switch to be more of a PlayStation or an Xbox. And that could also be because I primarily use it in docked position. I actually don't take it in mobile mode very often. But even in terms of the games themselves, and that's often a huge defining factor between stationary console games and handheld games, is the quality. And you're getting insane quality on the Switch. So far, every major game that has been released has been, they're all AAA titles pretty much.
Yeah.
And they're absolutely worth it, and it deserves to hold its own position right next to Sony and Microsoft. That's hilarious that you think Microsoft is Game Boy.
No, Microsoft.
Please.
When I say
Where are
Microsoft
those
Game Boy,
exclusives?
I'm saying, well, I digress. Anyways, guys, I'm sure we'll catch hell for some of this in some way from somebody, but nevertheless, I'm going to move on here because the other topic we want to talk about in the first half here is going to be YouTube. Now, this is a little bit different because it relates to gaming people, because I feel like the gaming sect of YouTube got hit pretty hot and heavy by a lot of stuff that happened within YouTube. And to be fair, there's not just like one YouTube topic here to be talked about per se. There's actually a lot of tripping YouTube has done that kind of started at the end of the year into the new year, which was this bug issue with people being magically unsubbed from YouTube.
Oh, I remember that.
I heard about that.
So it started off with that. That hit at the end of the year, started coming in the new year. So there's a big deal with that. And there's a lot of gray area people trying to figure out what the hell is going on, because it was more than just unsubbing. It was unsubbing and things not showing up in the like field or in the suggested field, or things not showing up in even the something you sub to. You're still subscribed to them, but you don't see notifications. This is where the whole make sure you hit the bell icon started coming up.
Yeah.
So there's the starting point. So I mean, it kind of, in my opinion, kind of goes downhill from there.
Yeah.
And it was helped. It was helped on a couple of fronts. So first of all, you've got YouTube doing something or screwing up something in the background, their own system. But then you get the help of idiots like PewDiePie that goes out and has a rambling stream of multiple offenses. I mean, he's had a lot of offenses to be made, to be fair, but this year alone, he managed to pull off 2 of them. One early in the year, one late in the year. The early one, though, was the, hey, I'm going to pay somebody on Fiverr to go out and hold up a sign that's massively offensive. And again, I talked about this in detail in the podcast way back when we reported it. In his defense, he was trying to make a point about something. What got blown out of proportion was the fact that he used about the most retarded way to prove the point.
Yeah.
And everybody really hopped on that, and they kind of sliced that part away and focused on that. And yes, it was wrong, and I don't agree with it, and he was stupid for it. But you still have to understand the relation of what the point he was trying to make. That said, it went over like a turd of punch bowl, Jared. I mean, am I wrong here about this?
I'm just going to come out and say this right off the bat. Ever since I first heard about him, I have never liked PewDiePie.
He's so annoying.
Same here.
He's so
Same
annoying.
here.
I never once liked him. And
I don't understand why he's famous. I don't get it.
I don't either. Now, saying that, immediately anytime I hear anything about him, I'm immediately biased to be just like, oh, fuck that guy.
Right.
But still, regardless of that being my initial impression and my feelings towards him, like, I don't understand it. It's one of the things, and a lot of, especially, it's one of those things that has left me scratching my head with a lot of the things that we've heard about in the news, you know, especially as of late with like the Hollywood sex scandals and all that other stuff. It's just, it leaves me sitting there scratching my head going, in what world did you think this was an okay move? In what world did you think that this would go over well? You know, regardless if you're trying to make some point, it's just like, what headspace did he have to be in to be thinking that this was going to make this point, which he was trying to make, which it obviously did not.
No,
then,
he failed.
Yeah, obviously failed. And then, you know,
badly.
I think we're getting to it a little bit later, so don't jump ahead. But just like the later on thing, in the rest of the year, it just piled on and just maybe just sit there being like, God, you're a piece of shit.
I mean, it's hard to feel pity when he so clearly brought it on himself.
Yeah.
No,
He has
you
no one to blame
absolutely
himself.
right. You are absolutely right, and that was the biggest thing. Is there were people defending him, and I'm trying as much as I really, anybody who watches this podcast knows I really dislike the asshole. I'm sorry, but I don't get it, and he's stupid and he's offensive and everything else. But yeah, it's hard to feel any kind of pity when he pulls the kind of shit that he does, and this was just one of those one step too fars. Yeah, I joked around in our Discord saying I could make a good 5-minute montage of him apologizing for the stupids he's done.
I'm pretty
over
sure
his
people
career.
have.
Probably.
Fair enough. But so that's one aspect of it. So YouTube has screwed themselves up in the background.
Yeah.
And then PewDiePie's
Messing.
it is a
one
face.
bad apple's ruin it for the bunch.
Yeah.
That's the
His
big reason
actions
why I don't like him.
screwed
Like,
it over for everybody.
I don't like, you know, to talk, especially, you know, it's like, because to some degree these people are not. I'm now skipping on the word, but just like we're in the same space, you know, content creators.
No, we're
like,
not. He's in Sweden.
He's
We're not in the
somewhere
same
else. Okay,
space.
geographic. In the internet space, we're in the same place, even though maybe not on the same level. But that's why I just don't like. I really just don't, because I feel he is legitimately bringing down everybody else who's trying to make this a legitimate
I
thing.
absolutely agree with you, and that's
Agreed.
one of the things I actually talked to one of our episodes saying, you know, he's doing stuff that's going to get us all fucked over in the long run. Meanwhile, YouTube tends to plow on with their bad ideas, and the next bad idea they had was that nobody's going to be able to monetize until they have at least 10,000 views.
Collective views or
Collective
Yeah,
views.
lifetime views.
Lifetime
still
views
got to
for
get
channel.
like 7,000.
And see, that's all I'm like, but we've been doing this for 2 effing years. I mean, we're not trying to make
Seriously.
we're not trying to make a buck. We have advertising turned off for this podcast, thankfully, because we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, 10,000 effing. You want a creator to bust ass on doing content for how fucking long? If you don't have some whole shot, one-off like big hit,
Yeah.
it's gonna take you more than 2 years from experience before you get there. And so right there, here's the first screw being turned.
Yeah.
That makes me feel like YouTube's going a different direction. They've already started YouTube Red. They're starting to make original content, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
This just feels like let's start shooing some of the cruft off. I don't know. I'm not exactly real keen about it, and then it gets a little worse because then the adpocalypse happens. Anyone want to take this one before I go off the deep end?
Yeah, sure. So adpocalypse, the term that was coined for it, essentially, there were major companies. I can't remember now exactly which companies they were. I think Walmart was one of them, and a few others like AT&T or something like that.
Yes, we had to have Walmart have a bad face.
So essentially, what would happen is people would put their videos online, or people puts their video online. You have people like PewDiePie, Generic B, John Franco, H3,
the KKK.
H3 So wait, but what I'm saying, these guys specifically because they're big names, and advertisements are put onto those videos that they post, which is how YouTube themselves creates revenue, and which is how, depending on how many views, the actual creator makes revenue. But what was happening was there were videos that were questionable. Some are hate related. Some are, they have content that these advertisers don't necessarily want to see their ads running or be associated with them. So the fear was that these companies were now somehow associated with whatever the video content may be. So if it was a video with racism or hatred or sexual whatever, they didn't want their company or their brand to be associated with it, even though most people are, I think most people are smart enough to make that differentiation.
Yeah.
That's what started happening.
That is a realm to get into, and that's one thing we got into kind of on that topic a while back.
So these companies would pull out, and now YouTube shakes in their boots and goes, okay, we got to change things around. And that's where it all started.
And boy, did they ratchet down on that real quick. So, on top of everything else, they started demonetizing videos.
Yep, there you go.
If there was
anything containing questionable content, and they are using that term very liberally. Like that, they seem to have I don't know what their standard is for what they're considering. Yeah, it's an arbitrary title that they're just slapping onto videos willy-nilly. That's really screwing over a ton of creators. It's really messing with their revenue.
Well, and they're looking at things that are offensive or questionable or have any kind of lewd words to them. So I mean, you put the word sex in your title.
Yeah.
And it could be, sexing ducklings, and you're going to get demonetized. I mean, it was silly. And of course, it was automated, as with, there's too much content that comes into YouTube in their defense to have a real person look at every single effing thing. But they feels like they slapped the system together, and then turned it up to 11, and set it loose. And of course, anything that has like violence of any sort or any kind of questionable content, that was a large chunk of games.
Yeah.
And so
just like I'm looking at it right now, my Super Hot VR that I have posted on my YouTube channel, I've gotten not suitable for most advertisers flags on them.
Super hot. Why?
Super hot. Exactly. Now, I mean, I'm an adult, so I'm playing the game and I'm swearing left, right, and center. Maybe that was it. I don't know.
He swears too much for these sensitive children.
But I can look at him right now. I'm looking at him on the other screen, and they're flagged, and it says not suitable for most advertisers. And there's a request review button, and if you click it, it actually pops up and says, you need to have at least 1,000 views on the video for it to be reviewed. I get, 30 views maximum? Because I'm a smaller channel.
Then the reverse rule should not apply. They shouldn't be able to put those flags on videos that don't have the minimum requirement. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
That is.
As well as I do, it's all about time and money. Again, if every single Tom, Dick, and Harry that's got 2 views on a video goes and clicks the button to get reviewed, they'd be swamped.
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, it is a whole thing of like they have to have their checks and balances to make sure that that bad stuff doesn't get to the cracks. Obviously, that they're going to have to do some refinement and fine tuning to make sure that it doesn't wind up ripping off everybody and hurting the little people who are trying to get big like us, and everything. But I do have a solution. Here's what we can do, because So on my personal YouTube, here's what happened. Are you guys familiar with the I can't remember what it is, but the John Cena memes that went around like 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like he was just like it's John Cena, and like it'd pop in like to some random thing, some random like scene or something like that, where they'd be like, "Who is that?" It's like, it's John Cena, and it goes off like that. Well, I made one of those just because I saw a John Cena DVD at Target. I was like, this is gonna be funny. Put it on Reddit. It hit 20,000 views randomly. So we can just migrate everything over there and just launch off there, and we'll be good, guys.
There
That's
we
what we gotta
go.
do.
That's a good solution. Piggybacking
Perfect.
off of the John Cena meme.
Yeah, exactly. Just be like, thanks,
Hey,
John.
you gotta get to start somewhere, you know.
Exactly. And it just so happens to be on John Cena's back.
I'm sure somebody will sue you for it later, you know. But
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The other thing. Meanwhile, while it's still going on, YouTube is also still having problems with trying to ratchet dial things in. They started doing things like, well, there's supremacist videos. So we're gonna suppress those, not remove them. We're just gonna hide them, so they won't come up in searches or come up in suggested views, things like that. But they're still there. And of course, that kind of got people a little bit on edge. Didn't make them very happy about it. And then the big hit was when YouTube was facing a full-scale advertising boycott over hate speech.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those things, like, on the surface of it, you have to go, well, yeah, nobody wants to see a bunch of hate speech. I mean, I understand the freedom of speech. I understand the right to speak your mind. I get it. But with all due respect, there is a very fine line between, I can say, I personally think that people who buy Switches are a bunch of nutters, and saying, if you see somebody with a Switch, you should beat their ass.
Yeah.
Big difference there,
Huge difference.
So, and this is kind of the situation that's come up. And again, they just, through all of this, they're handling everything so poorly. They're stumbling over themselves, trying to, again, turn everything up to maximum, to start diving everything. But then they make decisions like this. It's like,
it's actually driven creators away from that platform.
It has. And this is the real deal. And I'm curious about getting your take on this, Mogan, because this is a big thing I've started to notice. And this is I don't have any news I can pull up to really support it, but just from our own community in BRG, there's been a huge shift of people away from YouTube onto Twitch.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's only one YouTuber that I actively watch, and that's AlphaRed. We were talking about him a little bit ago. He's the only one that consistently makes videos that I think are actually good. There's nobody else on YouTube that I subscribe to. Literally no one. But on Twitch, I follow 20 to 30 people. And some of those people are actually good enough that I'm like, you know what, I think I will actually pay you for your time, good sir or madam. I like what you do here. And the same absolutely cannot be said for YouTube. I would never pay anybody on YouTube. I would never actually subscribe to their channel. It's like, no, thank you. I'll just search your name every time. I'm not going to pound that subscribe button like you keep asking me to do. I will not do it.
Destroy that button. Hit the bell.
On Twitch, I'm like, turn all the notifications on. I want to know when you're on, and that's where I'm getting all of my active live quality content is all Twitch. I mean, I think that Twitch is rapidly going to overtake YouTube, especially now that YouTube is apparently trying to become the new Netflix.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I agree with you. Now, I will say it in defense. I really do feel like YouTube recorded content and Twitch live streaming content is a little bit apples and oranges. But I've been in both realms. I've done a little bit of streaming with BRG Group, and I do, of course, this here. And I can see the enticement. It's not just the fact that YouTube is fuckering everybody hardcore. It's the fact that a lot of people who I know, like in our group, they've done YouTube for a while, have just figured out that, you know what? If I move over to Twitch, I can get funding for people, like you're talking about. People can give you bits. They can subscribe to you for $4.99, or if you have an Amazon account effectively for free on their part, they give you a few dollars. On top of the fact that Twitch has no qualms about you promoting links inside of your channel.
That's true.
YouTube decided to crack down on external links in the videos.
Yep. I saw a lot of people complaining about like their Patreon links were getting shut down and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that.
Exactly.
And this is ridiculous. It's with everything going on, and then they drop this bomb late in the year. It's just like,
That's right.
who is running YouTube right now? And do they just totally not see everything going on at all? So I can move over to Twitch. I can actually get more money out of it because I get money from Twitch easier and get my Patreon account not hindered by it. And on top of all that, it's a hell of a lot less editing to deal with.
Yeah.
It's a lot
Also
less
true.
work.
Yep.
You know, and then from a viewer standpoint, when I go and watch, NachoPandaa or Kirok on Twitch, it's a whole different realm. I'm not watching some video that they recorded and edited and put up at midnight and I got to whenever I got to it. It's as close to near live as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to Kirok. He puts a hole through his green screen and I'm laughing at him on the spot. And haggling for him. You know?
Yep.
You know, it's a different dynamic, and quite frankly, it's a lot more personal one. You know, it's great to go back into your comments after you've posted the video after a few days and see the comment replies from people, but it's still a disconnect. It's the difference between having a text message conversation versus talking to somebody on the phone, or email versus a live chat. It's a very different feel. So there's a lot going for Twitch, and people are kind of migrating that way because it's a different area to be in, and it's quite frankly more fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, one of the things I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't bring up was PewDiePie's second, and probably I would dare say the bigger fuck up he's done this year, which was during him playing PUBG, he dropped the N-word.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
Here's to give you guys an understanding. Again, if anybody's ever watched this podcast for a while, you know how open I am and free to drop the F-bomb, say shit, not give a fuck, and then some. But I draw the line there. And I'll tell you right now, I don't draw the line there just because it is another word and whatevs. I draw the line there because it is a word that is not only, first of all, it is a slur against a particular group of people, but more importantly, it's a word that drives a wedge between cultures. Some cultures can say it in some form, some cultures can't at all. That right there makes a taboo for me. I won't touch it, period, because it's bullshit. And nobody needs to. Why he would do this is beyond me. And this wasn't like a well-scripted thing, like pay somebody on Fiverr to go hold a sign up to piss people off. This was him in his natural setting, and it just came out of him.
Yeah.
In the least natural way, but like he had no context to even say it. Like,
seriously,
he had to drag it up and be like, "I'm going to say this right now." Like that. That's where in
Wait,
my
he
head.
prefaced it?
Well, no.
Oh, okay. I was about to say what?
He got shot and he got killed in the PUBG thing, and he's just like, you, or even some other adjective in front of it that.
Yeah.
It's just like you literally could have used.
Anything.
The word jagweed is so fun. Everybody should be using that word instead.
Exactly.
Jagweed.
That's what I mean. It's just like
there's so many better words. I mean, jackweed. Well, I mean, a ton.
Dillhole.
Dillhole. I personally love douche canoe, but
I love douche canoe. That's a great one.
But what else? But yeah, so here you got a situation where you've got somebody who is effectively a face on YouTube. And a big one at that. Again, this is not just he's the biggest gamer on YouTube. This is literally the biggest person on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Years ago, his channel passed the YouTube channel. Yeah. Literally, he is the creme de la creme, the biggest one out there. And this is what YouTube sees. These are the people they pay attention to. And when they do something stupid, we're all going to suffer.
Yep.
I mean, look at the advertising.
I'm honestly surprised YouTube didn't kick him.
Well,
I think it would have been in their best interest to do so.
Yeah, he got dumped from Red.
And dumped by Disney.
Right. He lost a lot of stuff. Like, he got hurt because of it. But I'm surprised that quite honest. I mean, it opens up a whole nother debate. We actually had a big debate on it on our Discord. I thought about putting it into a topic on one of our episodes, but I was like, no, I'm not going to give him the time.
Yeah, there you go.
But like we did talk about it on our Discord where it's just like, because especially the Firewatch studio came out and they're like, yo, we're going to force you to take down all your videos that have our content.
Oh, that too, yes.
They were trying to like get away from him and separate him.
Yep.
It's just, so it opens up a whole nother, door of, is that okay? Should people be able to do that? I mean, it's the internet, so it's this whole big thing. But I was honestly surprised that like his channel wasn't at least suspended for a while from YouTube. But when he's the face of YouTube,
ones, I'm shocked. I'm truly shocked. But this all lines up into a big giant question mark as to what YouTube is going to be by the end of next year. Because the way things are going right now, the content's shifting already. Things are happening. YouTube can't seem to pull out of the tailspin that is bad decision city all the way through. So I'll be curious to see where things sit at come the end of next year. And I'm almost want to put this into a prediction, but I really can't put a pin on the direction YouTube's gonna. Right now, it's spinning like this, and where it's gonna fling out, I just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I don't think they know.
I don't think anybody knows.
Just have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, and we will find out come the new year, of course. And of course, as new news comes out about this, we will certainly go. Oh, there was one piece of kind of breaking-esque news, which is YouTube is now under fire again for content on the YouTube Kids variant of YouTube.
I haven't heard of this.
I haven't heard about this.
Oh yeah,
I haven't heard of it.
There's a YouTube Kids app, which is YouTube for kids. It pulls content that's just kid-oriented, kid-appropriate. And the idea and the thought process, it's kind of like PBS in the fact that I can give my kid my phone or whatever, walk away and do dishes, and know they're going to be watching safe content because it's YouTube Kids.
Right.
Well, as luck would have it, of course, everything's an algorithm, and it pulls things that seem similar, and next thing you know, you've got SpongeBob walking around a thong killing people.
Oh my god.
Yep, that was a thing. And also, they have, and why did they have this? I don't know. They have comments enabled. So people are putting comments in. There's like a video of like a little kid rolling around in a pile of toys, and somebody posting a comment to the effect, and this is not verbatim, but it's something to the effect of, I want to smell those sweet, sweet panties. That kind of horridness. Yeah, I mean, I feel sad. I have got 4 kids, and I am very touchy about this. But this is the kind of fuck ups they're doing. This is the end of the year garbage that's happening to them. So I don't know. I'm smelling smoke, and usually when there's smoke, there's fire. And I've got a feeling that come next year, we're gonna see a change up in the order of people running YouTube.
Probably.
That's my guess. That's my best guess I can see right now. Because, I mean, I really and honestly at this point, it's just like, I'd love to help you put out the fire, but the sink's on fire and I can't get water. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap this up here. Again, if you guys have thoughts and opinions on this information, let me know. Or let us know in the show. Let us know. We're going to take a quick break, and we come on back. We're going to be talking about the second half of the show, which is going to be talking about the loot boxes and monetization of games, and then net neutrality, which is somewhat of a recent event this year, but I have a feeling this is going to be a pinnacle thing that happened this year, so I do want to get a chance to talk about it. So we will be right back.
Hello everyone, I'm ZiplockBob, and it is fallen to me to make a list of some of the most and least rentable things that game companies or individuals in the game industry have done. I'm just doing a gold, silver, and bronze for these, and honestly, due to time constraints, it would be a 5-hour long video if I listed every fucking thing. And that's just for this year. Also, I do want to make sure to balance things out with praise because, honestly, praise needs to be spent as well. So, first off is the bronze of the rentable. IMAGOS SOFTWORKS versus Alex Maurer. Now, this is an ongoing court case, and at the time of writing, I have no problem with how the court case is being handled, and the lawyers for IMAGOS, Leonard French, updates the public quite regularly with his videos on the subject. So if you want to learn more about how it's progressing, go there. This is where Mrs. Alex Maurer earns the bronze, and considering she's just one person, good on you for being such a garbage person. So Alex Maurer has a pay dispute over the music in a game she worked on. Instead of doing litigation, she decides to do a strike on every fucking video that has the music in it, even though she doesn't own the copyright, and decides to blackmail those YouTubers to complain to IMAGOS when she made the copyright. So, all these strikes, by the way, were made by someone not in an effort to get, some sort of protection for their intellectual property, but to get a payday. So, fuck you. Okay, balance the scales a bit. It's bronze for the raves. This is Twitch affiliate program and the Twitch achievement program. You see, on Twitch, before you can make any money, you have to make a name for yourself. While becoming partner to still the superior model, they've added in the affiliate program and made a quick achievement system type guide to let you know when you should apply for either. While there are some features that you cannot do on the affiliate side of things, such as running ads on your channel during a small break of your streams, it's still a great stepping stone because you can get easy fan contribution. And honestly, the shows that creatives and presenters on websites such as Twitch and YouTube should and can be paid for the entertainment value they provide. Silver for the roundable goes to EA. They've been killing companies for years, but killing companies is kind of harsh until you realize exactly what they're doing. They buy these companies out, cannibalize them for parts, and try and ultimately fail in making EA a greater force in market share when it comes to the gaming industry. Yeah, you have the older stories that people like myself have heard, Pandemic, Origin Systems, and the list goes on and on. But what put it back in the public eye is Visceral, a company that was making a Star Wars game, got canned because they were not making it into a focus-tested multiplayer game, but instead were going for a single-player experience. So instead of getting a game that could be your next KOTOR, you're probably going to get a Overwatch meets Star Wars clone sometime in the coming years. Great. Now, the Silvers for the Raves just makes me laugh because it is so amazing. The BETHESDA Creation Club has been a source of contention for many people in the Fallout and Skyrim communities, especially the very modders it's supposed to appease. And honestly, it's kind of an eyesore on the Fallout side of things because it's just right there in your face in the main menu. So, in a coma, dial 911, a modder decided to make a mod that does nothing but gets rid of the eyesore that it is. It's still there, you can still access it, but it's no longer so much a in-your-face sort of thing. And honestly, the irony of this is not lost on me, and he gets the silver. Now for the gold of the rentable, because I've been pissed about this one for a while this year, has been a tipping point for myself and many gamers included. Microtransactions in $60 games. Now microtransactions in free-to-play get a pass. But when you charge me any money up front to play your game, I should be free of the psychological browbeating of constantly being offered to spend money to get the cool shit or better shit than I've already got. This includes loot boxes because they are not getting a pass here either. If you do not care if all you're buying is skins because the point is, hey, I'm not paying to get more, power and shit. Fuck you. The entire idea is they're trying to do the haves and have-nots, and that sort of stuff used to be included originally. Don't make us pay for the game beforehand if you're going to try to make us pay for the game after the fact. This award goes out to the entire industry, including Activision Blizzard for Overwatch, PlayerUnknown for PUBG, and WB for Shadow of War, you scummy people. Now, to leave you on a positive note before we continue on with the podcast, gold for the raves goes to Ninja Theory for all they did with Hellblade. This game is $30. It's self-published, so there's no stupid publisher oversight here. And it has no season passes, no microtransactions, no pre-orders, no cut content being sold as DLC. The game looks amazing, it plays well, and even though it's not a game that I would think is something made for me, even though I have played the game, it's a good look for people who enjoy atmospheric horror, which I don't, and would like a look into mental illness, which I kind of do, and that's why I played it. But all in all, thank you, Ninja Theory, for not letting someone else publish this for you, and for not forcing it into a bunch of bullshit that would have been ruined as far as an experience for the players. That's all for the list for now. I did wrap this up in November, so please go down below and talk about the other rantable and raveable moments that have happened in 2017 and anything I might have missed.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and dive into the second half of the show here, and again, the last two topics we want to cover are going to be all about the loot box monetization slash game as a service. Sorry, microtransactions and games as a service, as well as the net neutrality, which again is kind of a late comer to the topic, but for this year, but is important. So we'll talk about that as well. Now, as preface it, if you guys want to hear the details of the articles that we're kind of referencing from, I advise you to go back to episode 99. The second half, the main topic, is on that topic where we talk about the actual articles. We're going to try to get away from that. We're going to talk a little more about our feelings on the topic, and we're going to try to decipher where it's going to go from here. So we'll hopefully not repeat ourselves too badly from the last episode. Anyways, to start us off with, we're going to talk about loot boxes, because loot boxes is kind of the first thing that really started showing up. And loot boxes, primarily, the first big oh my god that came up was loot boxes are gambling. Now, we actually had, episode 94, we talked about this with Hamnisu.
Hamnisu, yes.
This is how big this whole topic is. We've had multiple main topics on this, but just as a kind of a brief thing, I want to get Mogan and Jarrett's opinions on this. Just broad strokes, real quick. Is it gambling?
Yeah.
No.
There you go. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.
No, it's not gambling because it's optional. I can understand that if you're...
It's real gambling.
Yeah. So if you don't want to do it, you don't have to.
Well, there are people who will argue with you about having an addiction. And to be fair, the way loot boxes roll and all the little touches to them do really try to trigger that want to do more, want to do more. So they do try to hook you. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Now, that said, there are a lot of people who would kind of argue with you regarding this, and especially in terms of when it comes to EA and people playing Need for Speed. They're basically saying you pay for loot boxes or you're not going to get anywhere in the game.
Yeah. Need for Speed, I think, totally got overlooked in the sense because of everyone freaked out about Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Right.
But yeah, I saw some videos and stuff with it where it's basically every bit of progression in the game is completely randomized. Yeah. And which is ridiculous. The big thing for me, and I think, I'm still not totally just sure where I sit on the is it gambling, is it not? Because you're right, like what Mogan's saying, you're right, it does give you the option. You don't have to do it. And I think that's the thing. If it was a thing where I think it is okay in air quotes, because there is completely in most of these games, this trend is starting to go away, but you do have, like in Overwatch, you have the option to earn them by leveling up, or if you want to get one, you can buy one. And I think that's the difference. Mm-hmm. Whereas now it seems to some games are getting to, like with Need for Speed, it's like you gotta buy them, and then if it's like, if you can't guarantee me I'm going to get this, then for my money, then I can understand where that's gambling, because it's like with gambling too, you pull the lever and hope you're going to get something good at the end.
Right.
I've enjoyed the people who are like posting pictures of like Pokemon booster packs and everything. Like, this is the original loot box.
That's true.
and that is an analogy a lot of people have given. Is just like buying a pack of cards. Yeah, you really want that nice shiny foiled Pikachu, but you don't know what you're going to get out of it, and you can buy more packs in the hopes that you get what you want. Right. But there's the other side of it we talked about, which is, loot boxes become a dependency in the game. I will agree with you in the fact that if it is truly optional, if it's just cosmetic, or if it's something that adds some extra fun and value to the game, but isn't going to be a hindrance if I don't go out and actively pursue more of them, then yeah, I can't see a problem with it. I think the kind of the linchpin here and the transition to the next piece, which is getting more of them or paying to upgrade them. This we get to the microtransaction realm, and this is where things get a little ugly because loot boxes, and there's some confusion with people because some loot boxes, I go in and I play this video game that's free, and at the end of the match, I get a loot box. I didn't pay for it. Mm-hmm. It's not a big deal. Why is everybody having a meltdown? But then there's this whole, well, if you want to upgrade this loot box to get better prizes out of it this time, or if you want to get a few extra loot boxes, now you can pay a few dollars. Now we're getting to the microtransaction realm. This could be both for loot boxes and chance items as well as just straight up buying shit. And I'd be curious. Well, first of all, I got to ask: is there any kind of architecture like that on all of the platforms that are out there? Like, for example, the Switch. Can you do microtransaction on the Switch?
The closest thing that I think they would have would be like Amiibo.
Yeah, Amiibo would be.
And the draw with Amiibo is that technically, yeah, you do get content with some of them, but it really kind of depends on the game, and most people aren't really buying them for that purpose. They're buying them as collector's items.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's a case where you're actually physically getting something that you probably want more than you want the content, the very sparse amount of content that comes on the Amiibo. It's like, bitch, I don't want what comes on the Amiibo. I just want the Amiibo so that it goes on my shelf next to all of its friends, and then they can have a tea party. That's what I want it for.
It's true. You're 100% right.
So what about Xbox, Mr. I have an Xbox One X?
Well, so there you see a lot of games, AAA titles that do have microtransactions. EA's been hit hard with criticism on their latest, which is Battlefront 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jarrett, but I remember I was watching your last episode, the multiplayer one, and you guys were talking about favorite multiplayer levels, and one of them for you was in For Honor.
Yep.
And For Honor is a game that I was actually quite attracted to, but then I started learning that there were microtransactions. Was it microtransactions? You had to get more steel in the game, I think it was called?
Oh, God, that one.
Yeah,
Yes.
so like that kind of turned me off, and I didn't buy the game.
I've played the game. I have the game. I will say, this is the only game that I have bought a season pass for.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason I bought the season pass for it is because for me, it's more the setting of the game. Like, I have always been a huge like medieval history person.
Right.
That's been my thing.
And that's one of the reasons I was.
And that's why I wanted to grab it. And I was just like, I'm gonna play these guys. I'm gonna get the stuff. And I did this, and I did the math on it. It would have been, I could have sat and ground out to get steel to be able to unlock the new heroes, or which could take several hours. I could buy enough steel to be able to unlock like one of the new heroes from each DLC, because they released it in 2. But it ultimately made more sense to just buy the season pass, because I'm I'm gonna play all these people. I know I'm gonna get to it, and I know that this is like probably any other game. I wouldn't do it with Call of Duty. I wouldn't do it with other stuff. But this one, I was like, this is special. Like, it has it
had special, more meaning to
a special hole in my heart. Yeah. But that being said, I have not bought any extra steel packs to be able to upgrade in the cosmetics of my character.
Because you can grind it out, right?
And like, I don't play that often, but even for me not playing, if there's a weekend event and I didn't take part in it, it still gives me like 2,000-3,000 steel for not even taking part. I'm like, sweet. So I sit with like 30,000 steel, which is a lot. And and I bought a mythic outfit in there that was fit for one of the new Scottish Highlander character that they have, because he got like this really cool like antler head. It was a cool thing. One of the only times I freaked out about a cosmetic thing. And I was like, I want that, but it was 15,000 steel. So I bought it, but then I've already back to 30,000 steel, and I haven't really played that much.
So you would say the balance is definitely there.
It's better? Okay, good. Because I look at it from a point of view like you're buying a AAA title, and then all of a sudden you're playing the game, and you get certain areas where you may not be able to either progress or do a certain thing, where all of a sudden it's like, I got to spend more money on top of the $69 I already paid. Yeah. And that's where it kind of bothers me a bit.
There's a real kicker, and this is something that I find curious because, well, going way back, go back to 2001 me and my friend played Diablo 2 at the time, and we were like
Right.
hot and heavy. I mean, we had high level characters, elite crap. We played it on it, and then we meet a coworker of mine who's playing this game called EverQuest I'd never heard of, and he explains it to me. I'm like, whoa, hold up. You paid for the game, yeah, and now you're paying for it monthly too, dude. You're a fucking mook for paying for a game over and over again. That's fucking retarded. And of course, long story short, I ended up getting into the game and loving it to death. But I find it curious because later in life, I get past that, and then I end up going into EverQuest 2 just in the last few years. And me and my wife started playing EverQuest 2 and enjoying it, and it had gone free to play. So we weren't playing a monthly fee anymore. It was free to download, but you did have a monthly service you could pay for some extra perks. And I was looking at what you got out of it, and I was looking at what I wanted in the game because they had microtransactions. All cosmetic for the most part.
Okay.
You could get some standard amounts to get around, but mostly cosmetic. I'm like, fuck, I just rather buy a few things here and there. And I end up for a good 4-month stretch paying the equivalent of the monthly fee, but I was buying a bunch of crap I wanted. Now I've got a lizard monk that's got a mushroom hat and fish for weapons, at least cosmetically.
That's right. True.
And it makes me happy. But it's just cosmetic, and I'm not paying a monthly fee. And the best part about it, unlike WoW and EverQuest, was if I stop playing, I'm not still paying for it every month.
Yeah.
That's kind of a nice perk. But I think the big hitch here that Kirrok noted is the part that really started grinding into me, where micropayments became a wait a minute kind of thought, was when you went from this architecture of either you paid for a game and you got the content, or you had a free game and you bought content in the game. Now all of a sudden I'm paying AAA title prices for a AAA title game, and then I'm having to pay for content inside of it, whether it's a monthly fee for some perk, whether it's DLC, or whether it's microtransactions. I'm paying for something to get that continuing cost. I think that's where it started to become bitter on a lot of tongues. And this is kind of why it's become a big deal now. A lot of people are starting to kind of have a little bit of a meltdown about it. I'll be honest with you. In the long game, it's here to stay, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it is too.
It's not going to go anywhere. But I think there's definitely going to be a very very curvy road to find where that line is. And it's going to have a lot of variables to it. It's going to be a whole aspect of, are you paying for the game or aren't you? What kind of content are you paying for? Is it pay for cosmetics? Is it pay to win? What's going to happen out of it? And, on the bright side, with EA terminally fucking up left and right, they're just plowing through the forest quickly for us so we can find a direction. Granted, they're going to end up flying right off a cliff the way they're going, but...
Well, the good thing is, I think, is that the gaming community, especially with the backlash of EA, is like, I think, and I haven't even said this, I'm fine with buying cosmetics, buying loot boxes for cosmetics, and different stuff. Like, that's fine. Do it if you want. That's what you want to spend your money on. That's fine. But I think it's the moment that it does start inching into, which is where it was getting into this pay-to-win territory. That's when you got to shut it down, because then that is just completely violates everything about.
Yeah, what's even the point of the game?
Yeah.
Why are you even playing if you're just going to pay to win?
Yeah.
Don't even make a game. Make something else.
It's not. It's the same thing with like people who cheat and all that, cheating games, using exploits and things like that to get ahead. It's just like, how do you enjoy this game? I don't understand that. As a gamer, as a person who plays, how do you enjoy this game if you're taking the cheap road to success?
I will actually go so far into the extreme to actually say I find it to be a blurred line between downloading a cheat to play a game and paying for items that boost me in a game so I can do better than you.
Yeah.
They should charge you $2 to be able to cheat in the game then.
Kirrok, shut up!
Giving them ideas, right?
Texting EA right now.
Someone from EA is going, "Oh, that's good. That's good stuff." Oh,
Seriously. It's a damn good thing that we're not a known podcast. If anybody from EA watches, be like, "Oh shit, yeah, we just gave my."
It's a weird thing, and I agree with you that I think that EA is painfully paving the way, which thankfully somebody is making at least some headway into that, and at least it's them who are learning, and it's stuff like that, because they do have the capital to be able to bounce back.
Yeah.
Because I saw even a deal today that like the resulting fallout of the stock drop after them, they lost like $3 billion in value after all this. I think Kotaku had an article on it, stuff like that. They lost
whoopsies
almost, overall $3 billion in value, but still that like put them back where they were a few years ago. It's not like it put them into the black or into the red.
Yeah.
They're still fine, and they'll make kind of a thing. So it's like we had an effect, and we got.
So if they're still fine, why do they need the microtransactions so much?
Well, because then that jumps into the whole thing of our game's too cheap right now. Should the whole pricing go up? So it just opens. It snowballs.
It really does. Well, like I said, this is going to be a topic that's definitely going to spill into 2018. Oh, yeah. And again, it's one of those topics that I really can't. I know where I would like to see it go, but at the same time, I can't make any astute assertions that is what's going to happen or isn't what's going to happen. That's kind of the whole thing is, companies are beholden to their stockholders. They are going to try to eke out every last dollar they can. Money is their primary thing. As much as you want to believe that, Bethesda or, insert fond studio, indie studio name here is making a game purely for love and with primary concerns of your enjoyment. The fact of the matter is they're there to make a buck. EA is just all about, mass production, assembly line style, pumping them out. And they're a little more heartless than the others. So EA is an easy one to go after. But in the end, I do think that having recurring income come from these games, especially with almost every single game being online now, that does mean there's a recurring cost for server, for support, for maintenance, for staff, etc. So you do have to have a recurring form of income to support those recurring cost games.
And I mean, that's where we get things like PlayStation Plus and Xbox Gold. And I don't mind knowing that that's where my money is going to. Exactly. Knowing that it's going to the people who are actually making the content that I'm actively enjoying, I'm totally happy to pay for that. It's when I see somebody else in the game that has an item or weapons or, who knows what else that they have intentionally purchased just with regular old money that is giving them an advantage that I'm like, that sucks.
Yep.
That's making it not fun for everybody. Whereas if I know that my money is going towards the actual environment of the game and having the kinds of amenities that the modern gamer expects, that's fine. I don't mind giving them more money to actually make a game that I want to play. That's why I'm buying the game in the first place.
Right. Hey, here's a funny thing for you. So, the way games are nowadays, you can pretty much, like in games, for example, the game you're talking about, you can pretty much just buy currency in the game. Hey, I need steel, I need gold, whatever. You just buy that currency. People are like, well, what's wrong with that? Rewind 2 years ago and the whole meltdown people were having over gold farmers in WoW. It was the same.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It was the same damn thing. It was just privatized as opposed to the company making the money. Yeah. People were all up in arms about cheaters, buying farmed gold. And, oh my God, this is horrible. You can't do that. And then these are the same people now. They're like handing their credit card off to a company saying, give me gold for free.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that, I think, is the big issue of why all these different commissions are starting to now look at it as gambling and everything. Because, the whole argument that I brought up earlier of people taking trading card games saying like, oh, but that's what those were, which the concept is the same, yes, but here's the difference, or what seems to be the difference, is if you were the typical 8-year-old kid who is playing Pokemon, you still had to go to your parents and be like, can I buy this? Or they had to give you their allowance. You had to use your personal money. But now, especially if it's not monitored, the credit card is linked to it. There's no physical exchange of the currency.
Right.
And so that's what, can like really get with the issues, I feel like, of people. Like I just read a Kotaku article today that somebody came forward to EA. They posted their stuff on, they posted it on Reddit and reached out, and then Kotaku reached out to them and got it. That this person has spent, 19-year-old kid, has spent over $10,000 on microtransactions because he just got hooked into the.
What game? Candy Crush again?
I think it's several different games. It's not just one.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
But still, it's just like, so obviously,
polygamous gamer.
But so obviously the thing is there, like there is a valid point of looking into it, and I agree with that that it should be, especially because gaming is not just it's not an adult making the decision every single time to make the purchase. It's sometimes a kid who doesn't understand,
Well, so actually, I don't know if you've noticed, but one of the things that the Switch does have, which maybe the other systems have it too, is that every time, at least on mine, when you go to the Nintendo eShop, you have to input your password. And I actually don't recall doing that under the parental controls, but that
No.
means that you're technically protected.
Yeah.
If you're the only one as a parent in this case that has the password for the eShop, there's no way that your kid's going to get in there.
Yeah.
So having that extra level of protection against things like this, these accidental purchases in the case of usually children, I feel like that is something that more companies should be aggressively pursuing.
Yeah, because like with PlayStation, they, especially if you just have it, remember your password. Like me, I go on and like buy stuff on there or whatever, or buy, DLC, whatever. You don't have to put in your password again.
No.
You just got it from the console. You just go in. It's got everything saved. You just hit OK. So
And
it's
yours.
yeah. Yeah,
One touch purchases. That
Immediate
went well for me. And,
gratification.
I had that on Amazon. That was the worst thing ever. Oh, this is a couple dollars. Oh, this is a couple dollars. Oh, this is a couple. Oh shit! Look at the bill.
Oh my God.
Here's kind of bottom line thinking for me. Whether you want to believe loot boxes or microtransactions are any kind of predatory action or gambling type thing, the fact of the matter is a lot of these games that have microtransactions to them are using the same techniques and the same tricks to get you to buy stuff that the casinos use.
Yep.
So the bottom line is just that they're using the exact same things to try to trick you, if you will, or urge you into it. At that point, if you're using the same tricks, whether the actual action is technically gambling or not, you're drawing people in, you're getting them caught, and the next thing you know, you're a 19-year-old spending $10,000 on games.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, for $10,000, man, I could have a sweet Steam library of games I'll never play.
Seriously.
Anyways, I this is one of those topics I swear to God I could we've already talked about it twice now, and I could go on forever about it because there's so many little nuances. And again, I would love to make a declaration of intent to hand to these game companies and listen, you guys are gonna fuck it up. Just look at your brother EA over there, kind of banging his head against the wall and drooling.
And they're saying, he's not our brother.
Yeah,
We're not related to him.
Like, here's a declaration of intent. This is what is right. And just give it to them and say, here's the outline. Here's what you guys can do. Here's what you can't do. And just be done with this. We can just fucking move on to the next step in the gaming world. Because this one's going to plug us for a while. Plain and simple. Yeah. So we'll see how far into 2018 it goes. And try to hang on there. One last topic, guys, and I'm not going to spend a lot of detail on it, I don't think. We'll see what happens. But I do want to bring this up again because it is a big, big, big deal. And that everybody really needs to know about. Whether you're in the U.S. or not, this will have bearing effects on you. So bear this in mind as we talk about this. So net neutrality. Now, net neutrality, there's a couple things going on here. One is the aspect of understanding it. The other is the aspect of understanding what's happening to it. And this is a problem because I work in the tech industry. I'm in IT. I understand what's going on, and I still have a bugger of a time trying to explain it to people. And honestly, it's really hard to try to spell it out to them because when you start getting into the nuances of it, it becomes a nasty web, pardon the pun, very quickly of what you can do on the web. And trying to get people, the masses, to understand what's going on, what this is, and then understand what's happening to it is very difficult. So, again, we talked about this just recently, but the high pass overview is net neutrality is literally, the way I can define it is a means to keep the net equal for all traffic. No matter where you go, what service you get, etc., you've got equal access to it without having your bandwidth slowed down, without having an extra paid tier to get it, without any kind of
paywalls.
any kind of paywall or restriction of any sort. Now, some 3 years ago, they had changed the rules on how the government could manage telcos that provide internet services. This is telcos is kind of a bad word, but AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, Cox, whatever your flavor is for getting interwebs into your home. They were treated as one category of something that basically FCC couldn't touch, and this was proven when FCC went to court to try to sue, like Comcast, for example, and basically got told, "Sorry, you can't do it." Even the judicial system was like, "You really can't do that because you don't have the power to." But just as an aside, if they were classified as Title II, you could. And so the FCC turned around and said, "You know what? Screw this. We're doing that." And that's what they did. They changed the classification of internet companies and basically put them into the same bucket as water or electrical companies.
Gotcha.
They have basically a forced monopoly, but then they're regulated so they can't take advantage of monopoly and jack prices up or restrict water flow or something silly like that. They're also considered to be in the realm of things that are kind of lifeline utilities. So they want to make sure that people have access to them. So they get put in that realm and kind of lock in the parameters of you can't slow people down, you can't create a fast lane, if you will, of the internet and make people pay extra. And to give you guys an example of this, Comcast owns CBS, and I'd be a little bit annoyed if at some point Comcast decides, you know what, the regular Comcast service you will get unlimited access to CBS.com video player, but if you want to watch Netflix, that's going to be an extra fee, or it's going to be really shitty quality because we're going to ratchet down the bandwidth for it. That's kind of basically what they're allowed to do. Now, I have literally seen comments and posts from these companies, Comcast, Verizon, and so on, that, to give you a loose translation, and honestly it is about this absurd, "We promise you we will never ever ratchet your speeds or do anything that would be in violation of net neutrality, but please let us not have to be under this title so we can do it. We won't do it, but please let us do it. If we want to do it, but we won't do it."
And more recently than that, this would have happened within just the past couple of days. They've quietly even backed away from that promise. They're basically not saying that anymore. So they're not even trying to hide. It's they just want to be able to openly screw people over.
Oh, you can bet your sweet nanny they're already setting up the tiered plans and everything else going along with it. I can almost guarantee you of that. So anyways, the last person who was the head of FCC put this stuff in place. Everything was locked in. Everything was great. And one thing I want to say is the way they classify internet now is not the right way in my opinion, but it's the best option we have under current laws. Idealistically, there should be new regulation and law put in place to define and manage internet access. Mm-hmm. But that's a whole lot of time, effort, and whatnot put into it. And to be quite frank and honest, it really does feel like more often than not, at least in the U.S., that the vast majority of government officials have no fucking clue what the interwebs are, and even less capacity to manage the ideas of how to manage it. Mm-hmm. So that's creating a whole roadblock right there. But hey, things could get better. Oh no, wait, they can't, because now the new commissioner of FCC, Ajit Pai, is basically set to undo all of this. And here's where things get really ugly, because this guy came in and just started dismantling everything. Not only is he trying to switch out all the work they've done to put net neutrality in place, he's actually dismantling it so that the next group that comes in would have a damn difficult time actually
his damage.
Yeah, undoing his damage, making it more difficult for them to actually put things back in place. More so over, there's been a lot of shady shit going on. So whenever there is a government body that wants to change things and it's a non-elected government body. We don't vote for the FCC chairman. He is selected by officials.
In fact, isn't he a former CEO of Verizon?
He was actually a lawyer for Verizon.
Yeah, he had some connection to a telecom company.
Yeah.
Totally unbiased, I assure
I
you.
have no idea.
Yeah, no, it's shady to say the least. But yeah, so whenever that happens, these bodies have to have a statement of what intention is, and then an open public period for people to give feedback. And during that problem of feedback, did you hear about this by chance, Jared? There was a lot of feedback about, to the FCC, and it started with them having a dramatic DDoS attack. They had to bring their site down so people couldn't send feedback for a little while. That was horribly convenient. And then when it came back up, there was a flood of feedback that was in support of AJIT to break down net neutrality. And when somebody decided to do analysis of all the feedback, just about 98% of it that was in support of AJIT taking apart net neutrality was all basically canned mail with slight tweaks to the wording. When you pull all of that out of there and negate all of the basic carbon copies, you then find out that there was a overwhelming 98% support for keeping net neutrality. And this is something that everybody has been noting. How often in this country do you see 98% of the population actually agreeing on something?
Never.
Yeah,
it's mind-blowing.
It really is. The period for giving them feedback has passed. The vote is coming up very soon now. And there is a very, very high likelihood that they're going to go ahead and ignore all the input and go ahead and vote it down and get rid of it.
Which, granted, I will preface this by saying I am not a political science, whatever. I don't understand how most of it works. But that seems like, and I know it appears there's some subversion going to it and all that stuff, but I don't understand how something this vital to daily life and everything, that this isn't a citizen voted on issue. Especially being that it's being made and decided by someone who was not elected but appointed.
Yep.
And then here we sit being like, oh, we're this free democracy. Bull fucking shit. If that is like, if something like this is not, we can call and complain. I actually called and complained. Granted, there have been other things that I probably should have called and complained about before, but this one I actually did. And so, but like, still, I can do that till I'm blue in the face. But it's like, in this case, it legitimately feels like it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but for the love of God, please call your senators.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like,
please.
You absolutely still need to call them, because if you actually, so what they're doing, why this keeps coming up, is it's a tactic. So the reason that we keep having to revisit net neutrality is that the powers that be that want to get rid of it are trying to wear the populace down. Mm-hmm. And if you allow them to wear you down, they are going to get what they want. Yeah. So you cannot let them wear you down. You have to continue. And the number one thing you can do to actually get the powers that be, the government, to listen is to actually call your senator, bombard them with your complaints and say, vote no on blah, blah, blah. And there's so many services.
The worst way to contact them in these situations is by email.
Yeah, that's what I call. Like, somebody, I saw it on Twitter, somebody's like, hey, here's the phone number for AJIT. Like, call them. And I was like, all right. I mean, it was full. I didn't actually have to talk to anybody, which was great because I don't like that.
Most of the time you never get through to anybody because they're flooded. But there are a lot of services out there that will also freely connect you. You put in your phone number, they'll connect you with your senators. And before you get connected to them, a little automated voice will come on to be like, this is what you should say to them. And it'll walk you right through it. So for people that are uncomfortable on the phone or that may have anxiety, there are services out there that can still help you make your voice heard.
So do it, everybody, please, for the love of God. And
in all fairness, I will try to remember to put links in the show notes if I remember to. That will help find some of these things. But it's a pretty easy Google search to find these kind of services that Mo was talking about, because it's important. Now, I'm being a little dismal saying, you're kind of out the window because it is a elected official in a branch that doesn't take direct input from us and have any real sway on their opinions. Basically, we don't get to vote on this directly. Now that said, these divisions, these groups like FCC, for example, are beholden to our representatives. So Congress can come in and have a flaming field day if they want to. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we still do have some control. And this is where the emphasis comes in, and what we're talking about here is calling and, pardon me for the coarse words, but fucking harass your representatives.
Yes, no, harass them. Make
not
their
once.
lives hell
Not once.
until they
Not
actually
twice.
listen to you.
Daily, if not weekly. I mean, literally, just keep pestering them.
And if you live in a capital city, if you live where the legislature is, and you happen to have the time, freaking show up. Show up and be like, okay, I'm ready to talk to you. You're my representative, aren't you? Here I am. And that's, I mean, there are plenty of people that do sit-ins. There are lots of public action groups that organize those kinds of events. And you didn't mention it before, I don't think. The vote is scheduled for December 14th. So that's our deadline. December
Don't honor
14th.
Star Wars Day by taking away our net.
This is freaking scaring the crap out of me, and I'm in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
We get by with
Some degree.
driving with maple syrup.
Bear in mind too, this can affect people outside. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about how this could affect other countries. So first of all, there's the functional side of things. If you have a company that's based out of the U.S. and trying to get their information out of the U.S., any company they're trying to partner with to get their stuff out can end up getting screwed. Now, there's a great example of this when Netflix was trying to work with Comcast. Netflix is being hosted by one company, and then they hand off to Comcast. It literally is an exchange where literally it goes from one rack to another, if you will, jumping from one network to another network. So Netflix may be on one type of provider, and I may be on another, Comcast in this case, but there has to be an interconnect where they can hand off. And you literally have had situations where there have been companies, Verizon, that just basically, yeah, you know what? The connection between your network and ours is really shitty. We really should go down there and literally just plug in a couple more wires to get more bandwidth. We'll get around to it. Comcast went so far as tell Netflix, yeah, we'll get around to it. If you want to pay us, we could get around to it faster.
Oh, they got in a lot of trouble for that. I remember this now.
But this is one of those things that they are perfectly legally allowed to do without net neutrality. Now, on the extreme end, I'm not trying to scare people, but on the extreme end of things, if you want to have some kind of extreme examples, you can have a situation where you can say, hey, you know what? If you want to have access to YouTube, you're going to have to get services from Comcast or Cox only, because they're the only ones that are allowing YouTube across the wires. Verizon doesn't want to partner with YouTube or Google, and they basically said, fuck you, and you can't get it. And you start getting these walled gardens. Now, this is a very extreme example, but that would be perfectly legit and legal. You go back to a walled garden environment, kind of like being inside of AOL in a sense, if you have that aspect about it. And this can affect people globally. Because if you're outside the U.S., now you've got to deal with Rogers. And if Rogers has an agreement with Comcast to make sure that, you know, this service goes through, great. If they don't, then get stuffed. You're done. And that's kind of the end of it. They can also prioritize their own packets for other things. Hey, you know what? Again, you want to have access to Comcast on the go? Great. If you want to have access to Netflix, that's going to cost you money. Or we're going to count that as double data, or, you know, whatever they want to do. There's a lot of things that happen. The other thing is going to be the influence factor. You have big entities like the U.S. that say, you know what? Tiered internet's okay. And then all the other countries are going, sure, why not?
If they can do it, why can't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it sits at. So I mean, I guess, again, I wanted to bring this up because it's important. It is a big topic happening right now in this year, and it's going to bleed over to next year. There's going to be a lot more stuff coming down the pipe. I mean, we've got depending on how long Trump lasts, we've got 4 years of this kind of debauchery going on in our government. So it's been nothing but a clown show from the beginning.
Considering how much he loves and desperately needs Twitter, you would think he would be up in arms about this. This should be the thing that he's all about. Where'd he
you're
at?
right.
Somebody
God's
find
sake.
out who internet fighter they have and see if we can get the internet fighter to lock down Twitter without a fee. That will probably end up pushing him off the edge. Sorry, Don, you got to pay for a fee for Twitter access. What? Net neutrality!
For real.
Oh, no,
Hey, we should start spreading fake news about that. That's a good idea. We should do that.
just make sure you a little crayon drawn Fox logo and just kind of tape it to the front of your can. They don't believe it. Anyways, guys, as always, for all these topics tonight, I do want to get people's input and feedback and thoughts. Just because I'm curious. I'm curious if people are in the know about things. I want to know what people think about these kind of topics. It's always interesting because every year that comes up, I have a really hard time trying to figure out or peg, what's going to be the big news for this year. Stuff comes up as kind of surprise. I'll be honest with you. I didn't expect the Switch to be a big deal. Matter of fact, in my predictions from last year, I said it was going to be meh.
Didn't I say it was going to be a raging success?
I believe you did.
Well, who was right?
I was with you in that same episode.
We
I said
kept
the
the
opposite.
faith. We kept the faith.
Yeah.
Kirok was on board with you. He was like, no, it's going to do well. I managed to take down everybody else with me, just for the record. Sneak peek on what's coming up. But anyways, I digress. Watch the predictions episode. It's absolutely fuck off hilarious. You'll love it. But again, guys, I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. As always, we certainly do appreciate the thought and the feedback. So definitely make sure you let us know. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get moving on so we can get wrapping up here. So we'll be right back. Hey guys, what's up? So I'm here to give you the bronze, silver, and gold of the hardware world for this year, for 2017. And I got some funny picks for you, so I'm sure I'm probably going to get some some feedback on this. But nevertheless, these are the 3 pieces of hardware that I think were the most notable of all the hardware that came out for 2017. Here we go. All right, guys. So coming in at the bronze level, if you will, number 3 on our list here is going to be Spectacles by Snapchat. Now, I know this is the first thing people are going to look at and go, what? But hear me out. This is one thing about this is it's not that the hardware itself is somehow revolutionary or anything like that, but just in society, in today, the fact that this hardware came out and was actually appreciated or wanted by people. So in case you didn't know, so Spectacles basically is a pair of sunglasses that have cameras built into them. This is tied to Snapchat and the ability to put little clips and whatnot up on the web. And they wanted to make this kind of a big PR stunt. And so what they did is they didn't put these out in like stores for you to easily go buy. You'll go on the Amazon at the time and just buy them. They actually set up vending machines in strange places for people to run out to. And shockingly, there were lines of people that wanted to get these things. Now, I say shockingly because just a few years earlier, we had issues with people being very upset and very cagey about Google's own glasses. And that got met with a lot of resentment, and people worried about people, recording when they're not supposed to, and just general social behavior that was perceived as a problem. Now all of a sudden Snapchat comes out with this, clearly geared at a very different crowd in a sense. We're all techie, but this is a much younger generation, more connectivity, as opposed to Google Glass being a little more older. So there's that aspect. So there you go. There's kind of the reason for it. So it's not just to the hardware itself. It is kind of what these things stand for in a timeline in terms of how we accept these kind of things. So for our bronze level, it is Spectacles. All right. So coming in at our silver level, I'm going to put forth the idea of The Samsung Galaxy 8. That's right. I know it's just another phone, right? And there are other phones out there to speak of that were a big deal this year, like the iPhone X. However, the big difference between the Samsung Galaxy S8 versus the iPhone is the iPhone didn't have a rather steep hill to climb to get back into the game. And what I mean by that is we had that issue with certain Samsung devices catching fire and causing major catastrophes. And yet, through all that, Samsung has managed to bounce back with fervor when it comes to getting people on board with the new 8. I'm honestly shocked about this because although for all the reviews it is a stellar piece of hardware, I usually, most of the time, especially in this short a time span, memories don't fade, and people tend to kind of have a little bit of resentment of things that happened or whatever the case may be. Of course, that said, there were some diehards that probably, at least one person still probably has their S7, but I digress. Anyways, so this piece of hardware is not only a piece of high-end kit for this year, it's also a piece that proves that marketing can pretty much solve any problems. All right, people, and coming in at our gold level, the pinnacle, the biggest topic of 2017 when it comes to hardware. Can you guess it? I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah, it's the Nintendo Switch. That's right. This was a no-brainer. I mean, the other ones, I'm sure I can catch flack for in thought, but I will tell you, the Nintendo Switch was the absolute sweetheart of the hardware world for 2017. This is something that came into existence as the NX and conversation and rumor and speculation, and they announced details of it right at the beginning of the year, came out in March, and I'll be honest with you, I personally didn't think it was going to do too well. You can see that in my 2017 predictions from last year. I wasn't the only one, because there are a lot of companies, studios that were not on board with the Switch, that were kind of like, yeah, we might get around to it, we might do something with it. And now, by the end of the year here, everybody is clamoring to get on board. We have had Switch shortages. We have had studios literally climbing over themselves to port content, create new content, get exclusive. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. So the Switch has definitely made huge waves, and is definitely, in my opinion, the absolute apex of hardware that came out this year. So there you go, guys. That is the roundup for the top 3 hardware items for 2017. I hope you like it, and I certainly look forward to the feedback. Have a good one. All right. Well, as always, guys, we certainly do appreciate the time you spent with us tonight, and unfortunately, things do have to come to an end because we have to sleep at some point. Believe it or not, we don't play games 24/7. I barely have time to play games, period. But people who do have time to play games, well, they're sitting right here with me.
Me? Huh?
Oh yeah, well you.
Sometimes, not always.
No, more importantly, these people down here, Morgan and Jarrett, the wonderful people of Team Chat Podcast. How's life, Jarrett?
It's good. It's good. Staying pretty busy. Just doing a lot of video editing and stuff. That's what I do professionally, is freelance videography. So I've been keeping up with that a lot.
Fun.
But outside, it is a lot of fun. Outside of that, though, the gaming stuff, I'm balancing a lot of different things. Primarily focusing on playing through some Assassin's Creed Origins, getting through that. Waiting to find some peace in my soul about possibly getting Battlefront 2 at some point. Who knows? I don't know yet. It's killing me. I haven't been able to play it.
Resist.
No, but it kills me, Logan. It kills me.
Isn't that what Star Wars is all about? The resistance? Burn.
But holding strong for now.
Would Han Solo support this? No.
But outside of that, with Team Chat stuff, the only big thing, we're still going strong there every week on Tuesdays. But the big update with that is we not only just hit our 2-year anniversary mark a couple weeks ago, but we are about to hit our 100th episode. So we're planning something big and special for that. So
you guys are ahead of us in years and behind us in episodes.
Well, we used to have a different format.
Every 2 weeks was our episode. For the first 10 episodes, we did it every 2 weeks. And we're like, this is boring, and we want to do it more.
But we couldn't decide if we should call it bi-weekly or biannual. So we were like, forget it, we're going weekly.
It's way easier that way. So Since about episode 10 on, we've been weekly. So yeah, so that's what caused the disparity. So there we go.
There you go. Well, that's good to know. And of course, guys, if you want to keep up with you specifically, you do have a Twitter account, which is JT Wilson on the Twitters. And Morgan, you also have a Twitter account.
I do.
If you guys want to keep up with her, strange enough, it's just Morgan.
Oh, actually, no, it's slightly longer than that. It's at Mogan ATX.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. You'd be surprised. There actually is another one. And I was like, that son of a bitch.
That's a good point. There we go. That's much better looking. You got squids all over your page.
Oh, yeah, duh. Squid is life.
Squid is life. That's awesome.
Squid is life. Fair enough. And of course, guys, I cannot stress this enough. You definitely want to make sure you guys head over to Teen Chat Podcast and check them out there. They have a YouTube channel. They have an actual audio podcast you can pick up with your favorite podcatcher, which is the way I do it. So definitely encourage that. So if you enjoy this kind of crap here, then you definitely enjoy that kind of crap there.
We appreciate it.
Re-endorsement. And of course, we've got the good old, the reliable, the Canadian, the white, the Nanook of the North.
Yeah. Hey. Hi. Yeah.
You got a YouTube channel as always, and you're still loading up stuff from there, and that's all the stuff's coming from your Twitch channel.
That's right. I'm actually streaming and recording, and then later on editing and posting it on YouTube. Just finished streaming Call of Duty World War II, but I didn't record that, and finally finished the campaign in that. I only bought it for the story. I don't really care for the online play. I'm terrible at it anyways.
That's so reverse of what everybody that plays Call of Duty.
When I saw the story trailer for that game, I was like, I'm buying it just for the game, the single player. And then I handed it over to my brother who likes the online play. So,
and bear in mind, guys, you can catch some of his past stuff for that game on Twitch. It does have an archive for a while.
They hold the videos for a bit, yeah. But now I'm going to be going back to Mafia 3. That's the game I am actually into and playing, and it's a lot of fun. Really, really good.
Fair enough. And just a quick check-in. How's the good old people over at Project Singularity doing?
Project Singularity is good. We have a new member.
Do you?
Yeah, I told you who we were looking into. Well, he applied.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zero. Zero.
I told you to say no.
So Zero, he's actually Zero Plays Games, and he plays on Twitch as well. And he is in Bottle Rocket Gaming, a member there, and he applied to our community, and we got to play with him one day, had a lot of fun, and everybody voted, and it was a yay. So good.
Fair enough.
He's on board. Yeah.
I gave you a fair warning. Just say that up front, just so you know. And of course, last but not least, probably most important, is good old Hop Along Games.
Yeah, Hop Along Games.
Hopping along just fine. You got 4 episodes up now?
Yes, sir. And we have a couple more in the bag for December, so I got to get on editing those and throw them up. Yeah.
Damn Skippy. Definitely check this out, guys. Again, it is a different format. It's a sofa surfing format for news and gaming. I cannot encourage you enough to check this out. It is an absolute blast. People are good, and Kirok,
it's fun.
You know, but
we the last couple episodes have been in front of a green screen, so I've got creative with that. But even though we're not on a couch, and the podcast is called Couch Co-op, but that's it. So
obviously, you need to buy a couch.
I do, but then I gotta lug that thing out of the VR space all the time and lug it back in when we're recording.
Ooh, inflatable furniture.
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
Anyways, again, guys, check everything out there. I definitely encourage it. It's a lot of fun. And of course, I myself, right now, the biggest bulk of what I'm doing is with BRG. I've got this game, this gig that I'm doing. Also, a couple of new shows are coming up in the new year. So I'll be taking my downtime in December to do editing and getting things prepped and ready. We are also doing the Paladins free view event right now in December here. If you're interested in knowing more about that, head over to ballrockgaming.com. Go to the events page. I've got everything listed for all the different events doing. It's a month long of playing Paladins together. We've got a couple of structured days where we actually get together and play together. There's 3 of them. In total, we had one right at the 1st of December, and we got 2 more down the pipe, and then we'll be doing a roundtable review of the game. It's a free-to-play game. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it immensely. And be able to sit down with a bunch of people after the fact and really drill into it. When we do reviews of the games, we break down, we talk about, was it easy to download? Was it easy to install? The tutorials work okay, et cetera, et cetera. We really break the game down for you and then give you a very simple worth it or not worth it. So you guys know what to spend your micropayments on. The important things. The important things. And of course, as always, guys, we are a huge community of people. In addition to our website, we do have a Discord channel. Again, just go to Discord and look up BRG Gaming. You can't miss us. We have a wonderful bunch of people that love to talk and chatter and do things there. And if you want to know more about us, besides talking to us, you can, of course, stop by here on the YouTube channel and check us out. We have this content right now. Again, new content coming down the pipe. Hit the sub button. Easy way to keep up with us. It's the best way to keep up with us. If you're more of the live interactive type, we do have a Twitch channel, which is currently at 103 followers. Wow. Yeah, we're at 72 now on the YouTube side. But,
okay.
We still need to catch up here.
They just went way ahead of us now. So.
Yeah, just rub it in a little bit. Thanks a lot. Whose side are you on, asshole?
Canada.
Something that can benefit both sides of the fence, if you guys are willing, is head on over to patreon.com/BRG. We do have a Patreon account there. We can pitch a few dollars our way. Everything from $1 for a hearty thank you, only up to $50 for a t-shirt. You guys are welcome to pitch and help out there. And again, all the money that we put in here goes right back into the community to do giveaways, have fun, help people out with games. So if somebody is short a game and wants to play with the group, we can help them out. Things like that. So we do appreciate it. So thank you very much to people who do support us, and thank you for anybody in the future that wants to. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. It's been an absolute blast. I hope you guys are enjoying your December holiday time, and we will catch you next week. And next week's going to be, oh, shit.
What?
That's going to be the prediction wrap-up.
Oh, 2017 prediction wrap-up.
Yeah,
yes,
we get to find out how bad we did on our predictions. that is... Buckle up and wear reins to, because that's going to be a shit show. Pretty sure I'm going to do badly on that one. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. Have a great night. We'll catch you next week.
Bye-bye.
Adios.
Yeah.